You're building the empire.
And we'll help you protect it.
Because even the most powerful women
still have trust issues. Hey, girl.
Hey there.
How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. How you doing today?
Good. I'm so excited because they asked and we delivered, right? Today, we are going to dive into some things, right? Today.
Yes.
I'm excited.
But for our little housekeeping, before we get into the topic, I want to make sure that we stay on our campaign.
Yes. Because what's our campaign?
We want to have 250 subscribers before the end of this month.
Yes.
And we are almost there. So listen, we need you all to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Trust issues. You know you're getting some good information, so share it.
Share it with your friends, your neighbors, your sister, your brother. Make sure you share this episode because share trust issues with your friends because I'm sure they are going to love it.
Yeah.
Right? And we are so excited welcome back. Welcome back to Trust Issues where money meets mindset, legal meets legacy, and power meets protection. Yeah, so I'm your resident attorney, Urenia Ricks Johnson of Ricks & Associates, PLLC, and I have my wonderful co-host here,
Erica Hall of EH Wealth Advisors. I am your accountability partner, and I want to make sure, listen, I spend a whole lot of time getting information so I can bring it to you. So take advantage of it. We spend that time, right? We put in the work. Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you understand. And today is a very important topic because I think a lot of times people, and we talked before about how people perish sometimes or perish to have things done properly because of lack of knowledge.
That's what the word says.
It says it. So today we're going to provide some information about financial collapse. What happens when we've been talking about how money meets mindset and power meets protection, but a lot of times people may not even just be there. They may be just in a financial struggle. We're in the midst of a government shutdown.
We are, and so this may be closer to home than we think. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's time to change our mindset. A lot of times we have the incorrect thinking about things just because that's what the street says.
Word on the street.
That's because that's what we've always heard or always been told. But the truth is, information is empowering. When you're empowered, why not prepare with a reset?
Yeah, and most time people hear bankruptcy, they immediately think failure. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't make it. I didn't follow what I was supposed to follow. Those rules that you gave me, Erica, I didn't follow them.
Listen, some of us don't even have the rules.
I messed it up.
Right. Some of them we don't have all the information.
Yes. But what people don't understand is that bankruptcy is actually protection.
Really?
We call it, in a legal perspective, we say bankruptcy protection.
Yeah, I have heard that.
So we talk about power meets protection.
Yeah.
So that knowledge of the fact that bankruptcy is actually protection, when you file for bankruptcy, you're actually filing for protection from your creditors.
From your creditors. Listen, this is going to be some great information.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that we get to hear it from the attorney's mouth.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
This is the episode where you normally would have to pay for this consultation.
For this information. Yes. This information is normally not free.
Yeah.
But on today's episode and then the next episode, we're going to dive deep into what happens when you have a financial setback. What happens when now your expenses exceed your income and now you're considered insolvent.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big word for just meaning that you don't have money to take care of your bills.
I was just getting ready to ask you that question. Like, when do you know that you should file?
Okay, so really when your income, as I said, when your income does not outweigh your expenses that you have. If you make $5,000 a month and your expenses are $7,000, you are considered insolvent. It's time for you to start looking into bankruptcy protection.
Now, I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. But do you know how many people would have to check that box?
For being insolvent, yes.
Yeah, like because of everything, the way that I structure my life, the way I got my
Right.
bank account set up, and based on the credit cards, I'm using my credit cards to help me get to the end of the month. How many people are finding themselves or would say that's me?
Yes, and it hits a lot of people, and in that point in time, you need to start and think about a reset. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to file for bankruptcy or that you can, but it needs to be a time where you start to look at, hey, my expenses are outweighing my income. I need to do a reset in some form.
Okay, how long? Like, are there some things I could do first before, or how long before I decide, okay?
Well, some things are more pertinent than others. So if you have creditors where you're just tired of the phone calls, you're just tired of these creditors calling you, but you know that you're just playing catch up,
Yeah.
then it may just be a situation where, hey, if I could get to the point where the income, maybe I was living off of overtime and that overtime stopped.
Yeah.
So now I need to kind of look at my expenses and say, what can I cut out? Mm-hmm. So that may be more of the financial planning.
Yeah.
From that standpoint to give you your reset.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but you also mentioned something else that the creditors, the type of creditors, do the type of creditors matter in this consideration?
In bankruptcy, the type of creditors do matter. So you have what is called secured creditors, which means that there is a security interest attached. The security interest is for example, is a home.
Yeah.
When you purchase a home and you purchased a home for $300,000, but you just put down a down payment of $20,000.
Yeah.
And the rest of that $280,000 you pay in a mortgage.
Yeah.
And in return for that mortgage that you give to that finance company, they put what is called a lien on your property.
Right.
So that's considered a secured debt.
They're using that property as collateral.
That's a secured debt. So that would be considered a secured creditor.
Secured creditor. Okay. Mortgage company is a secured creditor.
But a credit card that's not secured by anything. Now, you can have a secured credit card. You can have secured credit card through like a bank or credit union where it's secured, or the lien on that would be a bank account.
Yeah.
Right, but most of the credit cards that we get are unsecured, which means that there's no security interest attached to it. So if we don't pay, there's no collateral that can be put up or in some way that the creditor can go after.
Yeah.
If you don't pay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those. In fact, those secure credit cards are one of the tools that credit unions, Michigan First, Vibe, those credit unions may use for people who are just getting started with credit. Like this is their first credit card. They'll give them a secured credit card.
And guess what I recommend?
What's that?
After a client has went through the bankruptcy process and now bankruptcy does affect your credit, it does lower your credit score.
Yeah.
My recommendation is for clients, in order to build their credit back up, is to do what you just said. To get a secured credit card in place, because it's off of your own money. You're not at any point borrowing but what you can afford to pay back, because that $1,000 is secured by the $1,000 in your bank account. If you don't pay it back, then they're going to take that money out of your bank account. But it shows good history. It shows good payments and things like that. So that's a way for, after your credit has had a hit, that you can now build off of that.
That sounds so good. That's the hope, and I'm glad, because let's be real, bankruptcy isn't the end, and sometimes it's the grace that you need to get that fresh start. It reminds me, in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, it says, "You at the end of every 7 years you shall grant a release," and this was about that, right? The year of release, and this is like God knew that after so much time has gone by, that you've been building, you've been planting, you've been doing life, you're going to need a season of release.
And that's really what bankruptcy does. It provides you the relief from these creditors. And at that point in time, once you successfully go through the program, then you get that release or that discharge. It's called, in the bankruptcy terms, discharge, where you no longer legally owe these creditors. So from a legal standpoint, they can no longer collect on this debt.
That's good. So
And that's a great
so
thing.
bankruptcy is a release, it's a reset. It's not a punishment, you said.
It's not a punishment.
So how about we get into the weeds of it, because I know we hit it on our show before, but you mentioned chapter 7 and chapter 13. So talk to us about what bankruptcy really is.
So bankruptcy, as I stated, is relief from debt, and
Yeah.
there are certain chapters. They're called chapters because they're based on chapters within the legislature that was passed by law, and the chapters are chapters that are actually in the law that give you the relief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So chapter 7 is a liquidation, or what we call a straight bankruptcy. It allows you to no longer legally owe these creditors if you successfully complete the process of filing for bankruptcy, right?
Yes,
So it's
yes.
a lot of paperwork. You got to fill out who you owe money to, how much you owe, and now the law requires for you to do a credit counseling course before you can even file.
Okay.
That basically tells you, hey, you're doing this reset. This is what you need to learn from it. And I appreciate that about the bankruptcy court and the law, and I appreciate the fact that they
too.
have
Yeah.
changed the law. And I encourage my clients, because a lot of times they kind of blow it off because they just want what they want.
Yeah, they want to
Right?
get through.
They want to get through as opposed to learning. So I tell my clients to
Yes.
take that time and really hear what these credit counselors. They're trained professionals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're there to tell you about how you can go through this process, and then once you do one before you file for the chapter 7 or chapter 13, and then they do what is called a financial management course.
Afterwards.
Before you get your discharge,
Yeah.
you have to go through this financial management course. And once again, I tell my clients, make sure you take this course and take it seriously. Don't just check the boxes just so you can get it, because there's no really pass or fail with it, right?
No,
it's just a process that they're making you go through.
It's needed.
But it's needed because it's trying to get you so you won't be repeat filers, because technically you can file again after 8 years.
Yeah.
After 8 years from the date of your discharge, you can file again for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. It's 4 years for Chapter 13 if you're looking for a discharge.
Okay.
But
now, what's the difference between the chapter 7 and the 13?
So the chapter 7, you get at the end of the chapter 7, you receive a discharge, which means you no longer legally have to pay back anything owed to these creditors that were on the list.
Okay.
So with the chapter 7, is no payment back.
Yeah.
If you qualify for chapter 7, you go through the process. There is a hearing in front of a trustee, which is a court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
And basically, I tell my clients that the trustee's job is to find assets.
Yeah.
The trustee's job is to make sure you're telling the truth.
Okay.
Okay? And the trustee's job is to, if they find assets, to sell those assets and give that money to your creditors.
It's like sell your assets.
Yes. So that's the meaning of creditors.
So it's liquidation.
It's liquidation
of your assets.
If you have
to pay
assets.
back your creditor.
Right.
Okay.
But with the Chapter 7 protection, you're saying you don't have assets. So you have to prove to the court that you don't have assets.
Okay.
Which means that if you do have assets, we have to exempt them, because they give you a certain amount of exemptions that say, okay, trustee, you can't touch these assets.
Yes.
Because I'm allowed to keep these assets and still go through the process.
Okay.
So with the Chapter 7.
different paths. Yeah.
So it's a different path with the Chapter 7. And the great thing about bankruptcy as well is that a lot of times people are going through garnishments, and we talked about that before, as far as when someone has actually gone to court, a creditor is actually gone to court, and now they're taking money out of your bank account or from your paycheck.
From your paycheck, right.
With bankruptcy, once you file, what goes into effect is called an automatic stay, which means that by law, it stays collection
No
or
more
stops
garnishment.
collection.
Yes.
Once you send in the paperwork, the creditor has to stop collection. They have to stop phone calls. They have to stop any of their mode of sending you letters. Any mode of collection, they have to stop.
Okay.
If they don't stop, you can actually file an action against them legally for not stopping once they receive notice.
Right.
Okay? So that's why it's called bankruptcy protection, because it actually helps you to protect what you have at that moment.
Yeah.
The bankruptcy stay goes into effect. So at that moment, those assets, you can protect them.
Because I can't live.
I can't live
I
and
need
still
a
pay these.
reset.
I need a reset. So I need to be
Wow.
able to freeze this time, freeze these assets, keep these assets, and then be able to get relief from my creditors.
Yeah.
And that's what Chapter 7 does.
When I think about people who I know, famous people, celebrities, business owners who have filed, you know where I'm going,
Yes.
right? Yeah, who have filed bankruptcy protection. Like they use this as a strategy, as a financial strategy. They do it often. Now, I think for the cause of giving someone release, I see the connection to the word, and that you
Amen.
said that it's every 8 years.
And you
you're
see how
able
the
to-
season, the
yes,
Jubilee, right?
Yes, exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Every 8 years, and since the law is every 8 years, that means you get that ability to have that reset. But what about? Are there any other creditors, or is there any debt that you cannot discharge with Chapter 7 or Chapter 13?
So there are certain creditors that you cannot discharge. Case in point, some IRS debt you cannot discharge. If it's recent IRS debt, you
Yeah.
cannot discharge it.
Yeah.
Student loans, you cannot discharge it.
Student loans cannot be discharged.
Cannot be discharged. If you have
Wow.
a debt for child support, alimony, anything connected in that way, you cannot get that discharged.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
If it's any type of restitution or anything connected to a criminal action, those cannot be discharged.
Those
in a chapter,
cannot be discharged. Y'all better
7
listen
or chapter
up.
13 bankruptcy. So those are non-dischargeable
Yeah.
debts.
Yeah.
That you can't. But we talked about chapter 7. But in the chapter 13, what you can do though is still file a chapter 13 and force them into a payment plan with you.
Okay. Okay.
So let's say I have clients before that have filed a chapter 13 because they had an astronomical amount of IRS debt,
Yeah.
and the IRS was demanding that they pay this back. And it was overwhelming to them. Or
Yes.
the IRS had a lien on the property, and now they were starting to garnish. They were starting to step in and actually do collection.
Yes.
So it does stop the collection of them while you're trying to figure it out, but you're in agreement to pay them back.
Yeah.
And the good thing about the Chapter 13 is I call it what is called a forced payment plan, which means that it requires
Yes.
the creditor to comply as long as you have a plan that makes sense.
Yeah, and accept that payment plan.
Yeah, and accept that payment
That's
plan,
good.
which is really good because a lot of times people say, "Well, I've done debt consolidation and I've done debt relief programs, and I was on the program, and the creditor was just like, I don't want to accept. I could only pay $150, and the creditor was like, no, you got to pay us $500
a month. Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
With a Chapter 13, the creditor, if your plan makes sense, they would have to take what you propose.
Yeah, because it's been set up. I mean, a lot of times, or even in the season that we find ourselves now, where people have lost their good government job.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
And you find yourself in a different financial position where you're not making as much income, and you may not be able to replace that income so quickly.
That's true.
You may be able to find something, but you may not be making as much as you were with your good government job
That's
or
so
whatever
true.
your previous employment was. So I'm glad to hear that we have some reprieve, some recourse, and you're able to build afterwards.
You're able to build, and that's the thing about it. And I tell people all the time, it is not something. That's why we entitled this "Rebuild," because you have to understand that it's not the end.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can't get credit again. It doesn't mean that you can't be successful. Like you gave the examples of people that are successful now.
Yes.
But they had to do a reset.
all the time.
You have
all
to do
the
a reset.
time.
And the good thing about it is that they were able to discern what season they were in and discern that, okay, now I need a reset. Things have happened in my life. And most of the time when people file, it's been a shift. It's not where they just don't want to pay these creditors back. It's not this point where they just like, I'm just trying to avoid them. I know I got this debt.
Yes.
And I just don't want to pay them back because I don't like them.
Yes.
Right? That's not the majority of people. The majority of people, it has come to the point where they have to choose between food,
Living.
lights,
Yeah.
living, or paying this
paying back
debt
that, yeah.
because of the fact that they're being garnished
Yeah.
or they're forcing them to pay this amount and they can't afford to do it.
Yeah.
It puts them at that insolvency point
Yeah.
where if they could get some type of reprieve or some type of relief,
Yes.
they
'Cause
can
life gets
protect what they
heavy.
have.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gives you another option. So I'm really glad to hear you go in this direction, because I think half of it, or at the beginning point, is the emotional, that mindset. It's your emotional, the emotions that you attach to it, the embarrassment,
Yeah,
the
'cause it can
mindset
be.
that you don't think that you have this image of who you are, or who you see yourself as, or people in my career, in my position, shouldn't have to go through this. So let's talk a little bit about that, because there may be some shame attached to it. There may be some, I don't want to go through this because it may take me a long time to rebuild. Let's talk about the emotional
Yeah, and I think that
state of
those are things
mind.
that you have to deal with and try to work past those emotions to get to the big picture of where
Yeah.
you want to go. Because you still have dreams, you still have goals, you still have things that you want to obtain,
Yeah,
and you have to think about what is the best vehicle to get me there.
right.
And if a reset or a rebuild through bankruptcy is the best vehicle to get there, you have to be able to kind of put those things, those instant emotions aside to say, okay, there's some more days after this that I have to
Yeah.
live through and I have to get through, but I have to get through this point. I have to
Yeah.
get through this point of reset
That's
and
good.
understanding that right now I can't do what I want to do, but there's another day coming.
And the truth of the matter is, if you don't do the reset, you will never be able
You'll
to get to
never.
where it is you're trying to go to.
Exactly.
Or it's going to
Exactly.
be a whole lot harder. Or you're going to be 40 years in the
Going
wilderness
around.
instead of getting there
Yes.
in just 4 years. Right?
And that journey, and
Yeah.
just understanding, like I said, that we are living in a society where everything is okay right now. I want to
Yeah.
get those things right now. I want to enjoy this right now, or I see things that I want to obtain right now. But we have to understand. That's what I mean by discerning the season that you're in.
Yeah.
It may not be the season for you because you understand the times and where you are right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to put aside what you want to do today
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
That's right. So I just want to encourage you today, if you're listening, you're watching this podcast. I'm reminded in Romans 8:28 it says that all things
All
work together for
things.
the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. So even your financial mistakes,
Even the financial mistakes.
even your mistakes can be a part of your testimony, your story. This is how I got here.
And it's a learning part. And I often say that you have to understand that life has so many teachable moments there. Even during the rebuild is a
You
teachable
remember-
moment. It's a moment to reflect and a moment to move forward.
What was when we were at the studio, and Brother Larry asked us the question about, do you think he posed a question. He said something about, do you think that when you go through those hardships, do you learn more? And I've been pondering his question.
Right, you've still been thinking about
I've
it,
been thinking
right?
about it more and more, and even now, listening to what you're sharing, I'm thinking like, after you come out of that 7 or that 13, you know the rules.
Yes,
You
now
know the rules. You know what it's good for. You know that in 8 years, if you might take a little more risk in
Right.
some business ventures. You might, because you've been equipped with experience and a little more information, that you now have expanded your field of opportunity.
You have.
Yeah.
You have. And that's a great time. And we have to understand that even the rough times, they're moments of learning. They're
Yeah.
moments that something that God wants you to get out of those moments.
Yeah.
And you have to seize those moments and understand that they are teachable.
They're
because a lot of
lessons.
times we don't really look for the lesson when it's a good time.
Yeah.
We don't look for it. But in the bad times, we like, okay, Lord, what was I supposed to get from this? Because this was a whole lot. Right?
You could even apply this to relationships. I know we're talking about bankruptcy, but I just
bankruptcy relationship.
listen.
right?
I'm not right. Bankruptcy has a meaning. It has it has a meaning associated with it. But one other reason with the mind, as we talk about the mindset, another reason we are hesitant to go ahead and pull the plug is because we're like, I done put all this time. I done invested all this money. I mean, isn't this
Right. That's
isn't
what
this
we
the
say.
mindset we have about not letting go of toxic relationships, not letting go
Now
of
I got to start all over.
yeah, now I invested too much time in this relationship. But I think even here's the principle. The principle is sometimes you just got to start over.
And sometimes you got to lose to gain.
Yeah. Take a couple steps back.
Sometimes you got to go back. And
go
sometimes
forward.
you have to understand that sometimes that back is a boomerang,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
coming back and it's a spring forward.
And praise
Right.
God that you will not miss a beat.
You will not.
We think in linear time, but what happens is you grow in maturity, you grow in stature, you grow in experience, you grow in network and relationships that by the time it's time for you to step back out there, you like catapult, like you just said, you catapult to where you need to be.
And you know better and you're able to do better,
Yeah,
right?
you look up like, wow.
Yeah. This is where I came, and this is where I had to go through this because I had to understand. Even when we think about like the story of Joseph and how I heard a preacher say one time that without the pit there would have been no palace.
There would
right?
have been from the pit to the
pit to the palace.
Yes,
but
yes.
nobody sometimes wants to experience the pit, but the pit was a part of the process.
No, because the pit, my brothers threw me in the pit. Your own family.
Yeah.
Threw you in, and laughed. You even went into bondage and but I think about even after going through all that, God worked on, since you're talking about Joseph, God worked on his heart so much that he found himself in the palace, in a position to just demonstrate such grace, he had grown in stature, he had grown in maturity, he had grown in experience, and he knows what it's like to be without. And he didn't want them brothers who threw him in the pit to have to go through that famine.
And he was able to save his family.
Yeah.
And then look at the principle of
what
he told them to do. He told them to store up.
Yeah.
He told them to store up. He told Pharaoh to store up.
Yeah.
Because there was coming a lean time.
In the land, yeah.
There was coming a lean time.
Yeah.
And isn't that what we've been talking about? Talking about how when we can apply these principles now,
Yeah.
when we're in the moments of where we have more,
Yeah.
to still go by those principles so we can store up. So
because
we can have.
that's how you keep it.
That's how we were able to move forward. And
Yeah.
those principles are still here. And there, so that way we can learn. The scripture is for our learning and understanding, for us to be able to apply it even today.
Those principles are once we see we can apply it to relationships, we can apply it to our finances.
Right. This principle.
Yeah.
Right. And so I hope that we've helped you to dispel just giving you some real life examples, right?
Yeah.
Of some of the myths that we see, like the myth of I'll lose everything.
Yeah.
Right? No, most people keep their home. Remember we talked about exemptions, keep
Yeah.
their home, car, and essentials through the exemption process. So you don't have to go through this process and lose everything. There are some things that you're still able to keep and maintain, but sometimes it puts you on the other side where the debt no longer is so overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I meet people who will say that they just live debt free. They don't want any debt, or they don't want to incur any debt because maybe they've gone through a time when they have had to file bankruptcy, and it's just not a great feeling. It's not a great feeling, and I don't know where our president, I don't know where he gets his confidence from, but how many times
he has impeccable confidence.
How many times has he, as a business person, filed
and reset for
bankruptcy?
Because
yeah,
bankruptcy is for businesses too. You have the Chapter 11 and the reorganizations for business, and Chapter 7, the complete liquidation. But those are moments where he understood the concept of that it wasn't a failure. There was things that he had to do. So his bankruptcies, my perspective is that they were business decisions.
Yeah, they were protections. Yeah.
He understood the process of protection. And just like that, we can understand how bankruptcy can work as a protection for you. I've experienced people, and I've seen people really rebound from a situation where they needed to do it at this time, and now they're thriving.
Yeah.
So let it be a catapult. It can be that catapult that you need in order to move forward and just take everything by storm.
Listen, and here's the other forced benefit, right? You're forced to, what was that training you had to take?
The credit counseling course prior to bankruptcy, and then the financial management course after you file bankruptcy.
Now, of course, these are lessons and training that I wish we could get this in our, K through 12 education.
Yes.
K through 12 education. That is so important. But you know what I've recently learned is that I knew this, but I think putting it in the terms of a science, that the economy is a science. We know politics is a science, political science, but the economy is a science. And I talk about how we live in a debt-based economy. And the economy is definitely a science that has to be learned so that you can apply it, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right? And so if you're forced to learn it after going through it, then you're going to apply that science to the rest of your life.
Yes, because at that point in time, you have to understand that you were forced into this, and now you have to take what you were forced into and learn from that.
Yeah.
From that moment. Because guess what? That forced situation, how it made you feel was, I never want to feel that way again.
Yeah. Never want to feel that way again. And man, did I learn a lot. And you're gonna testify, you're gonna tell people.
Yes. Tell them its goodness, right? Yeah. How he brought you out.
So I love it how you have debunked some of those myths. I'll lose everything. My credit will be ruined forever. You can recover your credit.
You can recover, yes. And then only irresponsible people file for bankruptcy. That's absolutely not true.
Absolutely not true.
A lot of times people have medical bills are overwhelming.
Yeah.
Job loss.
Yeah.
Pandemic.
Yeah. We need some tools.
We have some times, government shutdown.
Yeah.
Divorce. Anything can happen that causes you to have a moment of reset and to rebuild.
Yeah, you need some tools in your arsenal.
Yes.
Something that you
can, one of those tools.
Can pull on, yes, if you find yourself in a dire situation. So praise God, we have some options and some opportunities. And thank you so much.
I'm so glad.
I know that we're going to do another episode on bankruptcy.
We are. And we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to dive a little bit more deeper and like some things that you need to know before you file.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that in our next episode. But until then, I am attorney Urenia Ricks Johnson for Ricks & Associates.
Yes. And if you find yourself in this place and we've given you some great information, I am Erica Hall with EH Wealth Advisors, and I'm asking you to subscribe to our channel, share, like, listen, and let us know that you're enjoying the topics.
That's it. And we need 250 subscribers.
Yeah.
Help us get it.
That's right.
Okay.
Going higher. All right. Next time.